All right, we live. Had to do this video real quick. Might have a little background noise, but had to do this video real quick, man, because I just had a video drop that someone had posted, and it was about um Kevin Samuels. I mean, for one, by you putting his audio in your video, by you insinuating what he said to be true and nothing but the truth, and then playing what you playing, that's defamation of character. That's insinuating certain things within this space. And just if we take this offline, particularly, you're gonna catch a case for trying to play devil's advocate, for trying to predicate that just simple as kept, you playing with fire. And my thing is I'm not saying I don't support Kevin, and I'm not saying I do support Kevin, to wherever you want to call it. But my thing is, when it come down to it, Kevin relays a message. Who likes it, it don't matter, you know. And it speaks to behavior. And the behavior that Kevin talks about, the manosphere been talking about this for a minute, about women and their behavior. A lot of women want to push men into marriage. A lot of women want to push men, and that's the whole thing. You want men to do what you want, but you want them to take care of you. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You want men to carry the torch only when you let them. That means you don't want to get married to. For the most part, I heard you say one time, there's a lot of fat women out here that are potential wives. Now, if you're into big women, cool. But they need to go after those guys that are into big women. You know, go where you appreciate it. You know, I don't have a problem with a big woman. Ultimately, I dated big girls, but my wife is small. It just didn't work out like that. I don't like too much petite women, but the point of it is, my wife was different than all the rest. That's why she got. That's why she pretty much garnered my attention at her, the way she carried herself. And a lot of women don't carry themselves in a way in which men find them attractive. You got to have some level of attraction to a person to actually want to be with them. If there's no level of attraction, why am I going to be with somebody I hate? Why am I going to be with somebody I don't find interesting? Like, that's like essentially, America's not built on arranged marriages. You have choice. And I mean, just just looking at that video, it was horrible. I mean, you pretty much saying, to an extent in which women are getting beat. You reference the whole thing about um, something about trauma hospital, whatever, and you showed the video of a man killing a woman, you know, and you trying to put two and two together without saying it, but putting two and two together. I can say the same thing about Lorena Bobby, the lady who cut the man's penis off. I could say one of the women in the women's sphere, like, encourage her to do that, because that's what you're doing. You're taking two stories that have nothing to do with each other and put them together and saying this is what's being encouraged. That's like for a child that misbehaves and you put rap music in there. This is why the kids are acting up, because they're listening this type of music. Kids don't have a level of discipline to control their behavior, especially as a toddler. We have kids. We do certain things. Toddlers don't know how to, they want what they want. They don't know how to be quiet at that moment when you say be quiet because they're irritated unless they're getting punished. That's the only reason they will be quiet. And then within, they have to have that level of, have that level of conscience to understand that if I don't do right, I'm going to get in trouble. That's the biggest thing. A lot of kids don't have that level of conscience to where if I do something wrong, I'm going to get in trouble. See, and this is the thing that we have with women. You know, this level of consciousness. Dudes have it as well. There's a lot of dudes that have it as well. But I'm speaking to the women right now because this is what this video was pushed out as to men being violent towards women. This one incident was encouraged by who? Their relationship. That was something between them two. There was no reference into just like Candace Owens in the Man's Manifesto, who wrote down Candace was a person of interest that he watched that encouraged him to do his craziness in which he had, did some violence. I'm not even just going to go all into it, but her name was mentioned. That let you know it was directed what she said and what was done. There was nothing indicating that this man did anything on the premise of some show he watched on YouTube. That was his upbringing. So we're just going to go ahead and start pointing fingers at everything. If I get rich, I can say Bill Gates or Robert F. Smith showed me how to be rich because they were never in my life. I never talked to them personally. I might seen some videos, but they encouraged me to be rich. Or if I do something wrong and go to jail, I can blame it on the content creator just because I watched their videos. But if I never watched their videos, I can still blame it on them because that's what you're encouraging right here. That's not facts. That's opinion. You're making statements that are not true. I mean, you can leave the video up all you want to, but it's not a good look. I mean, I supported you with this whole thing, with you so-called with the Kevin thing, because it's funny. I just thought you were doing for clickbait. But I mean, seeing as if like you just put this and where's the perfect time, and this is just a coffin nail right here. You essentially want the women to be encouraged and be empowered, but you're going about it in the wrong way. I have no fault with women on my channel, my panel. I let women come up. I don't let guys disrespect women. It's do as well on certain panels that I do go on because women are to be respected, but women also have to give respect. The law states, I mean, just in general, this is America. I mean, even the law of the land. If a man hits a woman, he's entitled to go into jail and all kind of repercussions. But if a woman hits a man, he's supposed to be strong enough to take it. But we want equal rights when it comes to the women. That's what a lot of women fought for with the feminist movement, to make same pay, to be equal. But when a man gets 30 years for murder, he shoots somebody, then he gives you the gun, or you got a gun and you shoot them as well. You don't want 30 years because you're a female. When a man goes and get that pay at that job and you get the same position, you want equal pay because you're doing the same job he doing. But if he's an engineer and have to jump down in the storm drain and go fish something out, and let's say there's a gator or something down there, it's his job to go down there and remove anything that's clogged out. You want same pay. So shouldn't you go down there and do the same? Like, all this is just funny, man. It needs to be cut out with all this. You know, women don't want to be treated like a man. They want privileges that a man have, but they don't want to be treated like a man. I mean, just don't mix me with that, man. Like, just get out of there with that. You digging yourself into a hole, you know. And when it comes down to it, it it's crazy about that video that you put up. I mean, like I said, I can name countless of stories that women have done horrible things to men and put it on the woman's fear and put it on the woman's nature and all this, and they're violent creatures by nature. And like when guys say stuff like, "Oh, women, all women are liars," I don't use all because I married a woman that's not. I know women that are not. I know a few women, not a lot, but I know a few women that are not. So when it comes down to it, I mean, the situation, it is what it is. But you got to stop with this. Like, this whole thing, like I said, I mean, I understand the whole clickbait system to where you want your videos popping, you put certain things in the videos, you do certain things, and I understand that. That's what it is. That's that's the algorithm, or that's this and that's that. But like, the thing I'm not understanding is, like I said, don't insinuate, have the facts. If you're gonna put something out, have the facts. This was done because of this. Don't leave an open door so you can try to make people put two and two together. No, this happened because that had cause and effect. There was no indication on why this man did that to that woman. There was no indication on issues that they had. All but the lady worked at the bank, and her whole job was to encourage women get into that industry, I believe, and also working events to help the city. There was nothing indicating the situation between this woman and, this man, and how she passed. What did the man do to her? I mean, nothing. Nothing revealed in the information, but it was a horrible, tragic death because of this man bashed this woman's face in. And you want to put two and two together because the man beat the woman in the face that is tied to that. Come on. I mean, honestly, like I said, yeah. I mean, like I said, this is like, I don't like that when, because I don't even like it when men try to do that to women. When men sit here and try to say women have done something, this and that, I push against that as well, because when it come down to it, a lot of men will push a narrative and say women are this way because of this. Women did this because of this. Get out your feelings. I'm out. That's why I always hit the Maxwell and I hit people with the feelings. I do it as a joke, but now I'm starting to see it's too many emotional men, and women are already to an extent going to be emotional. I don't have nothing wrong with that. But for a man to sit here and be emotional about something, come on, guys. Get out your feelings. Have an understanding, elevation of your mind. Get in your feelings in the right time. Don't be in feelings with a group of men because you want to push a narrative. And that's what this young lady is doing. She's pushing a narrative on the video to kind of make people force them into this judgment of what happened in the video. I mean, I really don't even want to put the video because I don't even want too many people looking at it. I mean, but the stuff that I said in the beginning of the video, you will have an understanding who I'm talking about. And I hope she see this too, because I'm definitely gonna put this video in her comment once I'm done with this. I mean, when it comes down to it, it is or it ain't. Don't leave a door open. Don't sit here and try to hide stuff in the message. Let it be plain, clear as day. Because when it comes down to it, I mean, facts are facts. And that's why I don't like that's my biggest thing about speaking about a lot of this stuff in the manosphere and with the women and stuff. My focus, like I keep telling people, my channel basically is focused on money and generational wealth and family. You know, and I tell men, if you're married or wanting to be married, that's what you do. When it comes down to the men who don't want to get married, I'm not no pro-black pushing all people need to be married for the black race, this and that. Nah. Marriage ain't for everybody. I'm not gonna encourage somebody to be miserable in a marriage due to the fact of my feelings or trying to push people into marriage so you know we can push the black race. And nah, marriage is not for everybody. It's work in which people don't want to do. That's why most people cheat. They wasn't really feeling the marriage. If you're not feeling the marriage or you're not really into the marriage, how can you successfully keep the marriage going? You know? And that's what I keep saying about in this space. A lot of people want to force and push narratives that don't need to be. At the end of the day, it's black and white. It is what it is. If someone do something because of the viewership of which they watch, the facts are there. If not, don't insinuate things and pretty much you're just trying to paint a picture or paint a narrative and make people judge. Nah, let the facts be the facts. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, the crazy part is like I tell people about marriage. There's no guarantee in marriage. So if you're looking for a guarantee, you might as well not get married. If you're looking for a situation in which you think that you're gonna have this woman that's gonna fall to your feet and kiss your toes, hey man, you go find that one and good luck. You gotta respect that woman just like you respect yourself. Because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna sit here and rain down on my wife and don't want nobody to rain down on me. It's the same concept. I hear so many guys in the space. I hear so many women with this same narrative. They want their man. They want a traditional man, but they want to be modern. That's the whole. I want a man to pay all the bills, but I don't want to cook and clean. I want to get a maid. I want to get a cook, and I just want to live carefree. So you don't think that man is entitled to live carefree as well? You know, and I've said this before. When it comes down to it, as a woman who wants to lead in the relationship, she should be responsible for all the bills. She should be responsible for fixing the car, whether it be her getting up under there, changing that oil, or taking it to somewhere to get the oil changed. You know, me and my friend were just having this conversation about his wife not wanting to change her oil in her car simply because her husband is the man. He should go change the oil. He it's not like She's getting up under the car, taking the filter out and everything. She's taking it to the shop, and the shop is actually doing the process on changing the oil. So why can't she do that? Why can't she do that? I'm gonna go ahead and shout out some people while I'm at a stop. What's going on, Ricky? Tampa, raining woman. How you doing, lady? Joey, third, frugal mom. What's going on? Quick, quick. Tall, perfect timing. One, Rose in the building. But when it comes down to it, in the end, I'm just gonna keep saying this. You know, we gotta work together. I mean, when you get married, you're not gonna be that enforcer over your wife as everybody proclaims to be, because you're gonna be on the other side of a barrel, or you're gonna be on the other side of her having to make a decision whether you live or die. And it's a difference from being a ruthless nice guy than being a ruthless tyrant that pretty much is goes over that woman with the whole dominating fear tactic, in which if you don't listen or do what I say, it's going to be consequences and repercussions behind your actions. You know, that's not going to be something that you want practice or push in that house, because if that woman has a decision to, you know, whether you live or die, and you justified yourself as, you know, being this man that takes no shorts. I understand discipline, you know, instructing rules in which the kingdom can work properly, to, you know, put her as almost like a jester, or, insinuating that you're gonna bring capital punishment on her. Like, that's gonna be an issue. I don't think she's gonna like that over time, to the position in which you want to try to dominate her. Hey, that's up to you. You know, I don't rule like that over my wife. I don't even rule over my wife like that. We have a complete understanding. BGS said it yesterday when we was talking. Either she's submissive or she's not. If you marry a woman that's not submissive, you're you're pretty much taking everything that comes with it, the relationship. That's the crazy part. And if a situation occurs where this woman is, acting a certain behavior, over time she might show herself. But this is a situation that's been brewing for a while, you know. Kind of jumping off this whole topic right now, but yeah, I mean, the craziness, man. Like, the man is the leader, the protector and the provider, and he protects, leads over his family, guides everything. So to an extent, like I say, if a woman wants to be the protector, the leader, and provider, she has to be over everything. And if a man chooses to be with a woman like that, she can't, you know, relinquish power when it's too hard, because the man doesn't relinquish power when it's too hard. He can't. There's no way around it. So my thing is, when a man is the dude that, or whomever you're trying to have a relationship with, at the end of the day, if they're the leader at all times. You can't be leader. You can't be the leader when it's convenient for you. When this is a convenience game, to where I'm gonna get married or I'm gonna be in this relationship because it benefits me, and when it don't benefit me, I'm leaving. Now you're playing games. And going back to that topic earlier, what I was just talking about with that man, you can't play games with people's heart. You can't play games with people and expect a fair outcome. I don't encourage hitting no woman, And I don't encourage no woman hitting no man. But have an understanding. You hit me and expect me not to hit you back, that's asinine. Whether it be man, whether it be woman. I've always said, if you if you slap me and I shoot you, you can't choose my reaction. You cannot choose my reaction. So the best thing for you to do is not even put yourself in that type of situation. A lot of people fail to realize you think by being a woman that a man is going to show a little lenience. And that is true to an extent. Men have always shown lenience to women, and they've always got an unfair share of the issue at hand. This whole thing in this space in which a lot of guys are talking, the more I listen to the space and I hear when women say, well, men are crying, men are like women now, they just crying, they talking about too much, they this and they that. No, men have always said that we had to bottle our emotions up. Because coming up as young men, you was always taught, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that. And it's to a standpoint now, this is times where men have gotten to the point where we can, show some type of emotion. And when something hurt, it hurts. You know, being in a relationship with someone all these years of just literally played you, that takes a toll. That's hurt on your body. Getting your toe stumped doesn't even hurt as bad as having a crushed heart. You might get shot with a bullet, and it doesn't even compare to you walking in on your old lady, or she's hitting you with those divorce papers. Now you honestly tried everything to make it work. Have an understanding. We always talk about how women, file for divorce, but men, the reason why we don't file is because we try to make it work. Now there are a few men that do file for divorce, but it's because they can't take it. There's no other way out. And that woman is not going to change, and that woman is not going to file for divorce because she's getting all the benefits. This what does they call it? Homosexual. A guy who doesn't work and a woman take care of him, you think he's gonna leave that relationship when it gets tough? You think he's gonna leave that relationship when that woman comes at him a certain way? No, no, he's not. Everything that he gained is from her. You can essentially like she's pretty much his boss. Make sure he, has pay, make sure he has a car, make sure he, is dressed, keep nice. It's almost like a child essentially, not even a boss, but a child. Instead of her having a husband or a boyfriend, she essentially has a child. She has to constantly take care, make sure this guy's doing good. The homosexual type. I think that's what they call homosexual. The ones that's with the women that let the women take care of them. But guys call that player. Woman, she buy my shoes and I don't gotta work. She take care of me. That's player. That's what a lot of guys out here call. That's player. That ain't player. Because it's gonna run dry eventually. Then what are you gonna do? Sleep on somebody else's sofa? Eventually you got to grow up and get things together. You know, the crazy part, like I keep saying, man, we got to have an understanding with each other, man and woman. Nothing is gonna be perfect. We got to work at it. You know, there are gonna be some women that get on your nerves. You know, they're gonna be wilding out. Hell, my wife, me and her, we've had talks. We had situations. You know, But the point of it is, we work it out, you know. And I always tell her, I'm straight up with my wife. I told her if she's not wanting to do her duties as a wife, you know, cook, clean, cause ain't no difference. I cook and clean. I cook and clean. You know, my wife one time she was like, "Hey, it's your turn to cook tonight." I said, "When did this occur?" She's like, "What do you mean when did this occur?" I'm like, "When did we start having me on the payroll? I cook to give you a break at times, you know." So from when I tell her I'm cooking tonight and I got this and I'm doing this, she step out the way. You know, usually she'd be like, "Well, I was gonna prepare this." Now she's done got it to the point where, hey, you ain't got to tell me twice. Him, you want to cook this what I thought out, or you got something else? You know, cool. Even with cleaning, there's no point of her cleaning. If I see something messed up, I'm cleaning it up. You know, I get irritated with her with the folding clothes. My wife will wash clothes all day, fold a couple of them, then after that, she get tired or irritated with the folding clothes. I'm like, even with folding clothes, she always tell me I'm anal about certain things. Fold the sheets a certain way because you keep the wrinkles out. Even with clothes, hang them up when you get them out the dryer. You won't really have to iron them too much. But to a point, she loves ironing. She irons, so cool. It benefits her. I don't like ironing, so that's why I make sure all my stuff is hung, folded straight out the dryer, so I won't have these issues. Because most of the time I wear work clothes, so I don't have to worry about all that. That's what I don't understand. Guys who just want to be responsible with taking out the trash and that's it. Nah, dude, you got to put in some work. That's your house just as much as hers. If you wasn't with her, you would still have to cook your food. You would still have to clean up the kitchen. You would still have to do these things. So when it come down to it, have an understanding. And I don't understand that with guys and to the point. If you had a woman, you're gonna have to cook and clean. So when she's there, why not give her hand a little? I'm not telling you to, whirlwind the whole house, but essentially, if she's working, you working. You don't think she's tired? Now, if you're doing a hard labor job, I understand that. Y'all have an understanding. See, that's when the point of communication gets involved, to where you have that talk. How many men are having that talk? Yeah, baby. I work this hard job. I don't want to do this and do that. That's like my wife. I explained to her, about paying the bills and stuff. I'm like, man, certain things in the house, you can go ahead and start paying all these bills and doing all this and doing all that. I say because right now I'm not focused on certain things, so I can't be paying all this and doing all this. I'm just gonna go ahead and have you because she's already on my account. I'm on hers, and she just snatched the money out my account. Oh, Minnie, I ain't see Minnie. Never seen you on my chat, but how you doing? But when it comes down to it, you gotta have a level of understanding, man, with your wife. Y'all gotta have an open line of communication, and that's gonna mainly be the key within that relationship, going for years and years and years to come. Is having that communication, and without having that communication, guess what? It's not gonna be lasting pretty long. And that's why I try to tell people, I don't have the answers into the perfect marriage or things of that nature. It's all about who you choose, who you deal with. At the end of the day, it's all on you. I mean, you essentially know what you want out of that relationship. So, hey, if you get that, it's because that's what you wanted. For you to essentially pay for something that you don't want, To me, that's foolish. Why would I pay for something or invest in something that's not gonna give me a good return and it's pretty much not for me? Nah, I'm not going for that. Like that's not for me. Nah, heck no. That's why, time and time after again, like I say, when I hear guys on the panels, I understand. Some people have really went through things. Others, they have got just a bad deal. So with getting that bad deal, have an understanding. You move different next time. That's the whole thing with getting a bad deal. Learning not to get a bad deal again. A lot of people failing in that department. You know, you fall, hurt yourself. That's one. Yeah, Joey, I understand that, but you got to understand, a lot of guys they pretty much they hurt. This is a way to to vent about this whole thing. But don't get me twisted. When it come down to it, let it go. I'm not gonna sit here and have several conversations about women all day. I keep telling guys, why not focus on the money? Why not? I've yet to hear someone tell me why in this space we can't focus on the money. Because essentially, if you have a woman or not, you got to get your bread together. That's what a lot of people not talking about is getting the money right. Because at the end of the day, like I keep saying, whether you have a family or not, whether you're married or not, you still need money. At the end of the day, if that's this whole thing about these the black women in America. For those guys who say I'm going SYSB, which they really talking about passport. So you mean to tell me you're gonna fly all the way to another country to get another woman when the same women are over here in America? Let's say they still hold their traditional values. I mean, I found one. My wife is from Jamaica. She been in America since she was 6. She still hold her values. Good woman, you know. And the value system is the key. That's what determines, you know. And my thing is this: if those guys complain about those women that are Black American, why talk about them? Why make so many streams on the videos about them? Don't say nothing. Just focus on other stuff. It's money. Cause that's like a dude on the channel. I mean, on one channel I had talked to, he was talking about, always talking about fat women, fat women, fat women, fat women. So I said, uh, do you like, well, I don't want to kind of embarrass or, but I just say, I asked him, do he like the opposite sex? He said, no, I'm not interested in that. I say, okay, so if that's the case, shouldn't you use that same way about fat women? If you're not interested in them, don't talk about it. You know what his response was? But I like women. Okay, so if you like women, you like a certain type of woman. That's who you're invested in, a certain type of woman. So in the end, that's who you need to be talking about. He couldn't understand what I was basically telling him. Why deal or talk about these women that you pretty much don't want to deal with or, you know, invest in? So just go about your way, man. Only talk about the women that you're trying to get at or you trying to be with. Because if the other women are not, your cup of tea, why talk about them? You know, like I keep saying, Mike, Mike Shinery, um, Real Deal Finance, Alonzo Hall. I'm gonna always push those 3 channels. And oh yeah, Gold Professor. You know, Gold Professor always talks about the discipline. I talk about underrated channel about boxing and family and stuff like that. Um, Big Duke always pushing the health and everything, but my key is the finance. So that's why I always push Alonzo. Hey, like I said, I'm like with the hair club for men. Not only do I talk about Alonzo and I try to push him out more like a sponsor, I actually use Alonzo for my kids, and I'm actually gonna get some plans for myself as well through him. I told people I'm actually trying to hit $1 million policy, and I let it be known, you know, because it's not just for my wife; it's for me as well. Because like Alonzo talks about, and I push it too, life insurance is not death insurance. I'm not looking for life insurance to take care of my family after I die. I'm looking at life insurance as being a vehicle for me to get money in real estate when I get older, a vehicle for me to get, um, you know, things, land, anything I want to purchase through my life insurance. I can easily cash out my policy or borrow money off of it. See, a lot of people don't know that. I mean, the one of the insurance I have, the universal index, it goes out the stock market. I got about close to $15,000 invested into it right now. My policy is supposed to be $100,000 when I signed up. It's at 115 now. Have an understanding. You got see the key is we don't know money. And what you're not knowing money, it's a lack of knowledge. And with that lack of knowledge, you don't acquire the discipline and the understanding of how to make the money work for you. Putting this mask on, but even with stocks and stuff, we fail in that department of learning and getting the research on money and stuff like that. Yeah, man. So like I said, when it come down to it, as far as the knowledge wise, that's what we actually missing, man. Everybody being on the same playing field, trying to learn something in the game. Don't be out here like my grandma always say, just being a dummy because of lack of knowledge. Like that's what we facing right now. That's why a lot of people, get screwed over in business by not reading contracts. The old professor on Wednesdays always talk about reading, having understandings. The 9 laws of self-government, I always talk about that. know, Rule number 2 is protection. I'm in a contract, whether it be from a car dealership, which they hit you for the interest. They one of the biggest crooks. You got a business to where people make you sign contracts. It benefits them. Most of the time, if you're signing a contract, look over it. Even at my job, when I get stuff where they try to, have us do certain things to push, we have to, you know, I gave us a paper, told us just to sign it, disregarding the company. You know what it was? It was paperwork saying that anything that I do in the truck or whomever is my fault. And I'm entitled to, paying benefits, which if anything I broke, I fix out of my pocket. And when it come down to it, man, like that's the biggest thing. You know, a lot of people they'll try to get over on you if you're not paying attention. And that's like the biggest thing. But companies with people, you know, even in these relationships, how how are you gonna be benefited in a relationship where every time you turn around, this person is needy, but they don't want to give back? If I'm in a relationship with a woman and every time I turn around, she's like, baby, let's go out to eat. I don't want to cook tonight. I'm tired. Turn around, let's go on vacation. Let's go get this done. All right. Then turn around, let's go do this. Let's like when it comes down to it, you're spending a whole bunch of money which you could be saving. My wife, I always tell her she want a Mercedes. I always tell her I get the Mercedes for you, you know, but you got to pay the maintenance. And of course, she always says yes, I'll pay the maintenance. But when we do the rundown of all the stuff that is required in the maintenance of you changing the brakes, you know, light bulbs from the dealership, it's expensive. $200 for a light bulb. $200 just to change a light bulb. That's not even including, standardized oil changes on some of those cars are like $250 for the year though. Just $250 for the year. But if you do the math, you're doing 45, $50 oil change, I think 3 times a year, close to 3 to 4 times a year. It almost average out to that. But to the point being, Shonda, how you doing? But the point being, when it comes down to it, like, what are we encouraging? What are we doing as far as like the family wise? The structure on family sticking together. It's easy to get a divorce. How easy to stick it out in a marriage and work things out. Like that's the biggest problem. What made you want to get married to this person? So whatever made you want to get married to this person, why can't it work? I mean, besides someone just literally beating on you, what will make the relationship not work? You know, most of the women look at the money as an issue. The guy didn't have money when you first met him. So why is it an issue? You know, I told a story on Roger's panel of me losing my job. Well, not losing. I actually quit my business. Me and my business partner had it out. So I just told him I'll go ahead and, come on out. So probably told him about 6 months I didn't work. Had a little money. It started to run out, as far as the bill wise. And when it came down to it, my wife didn't leave me. She didn't say, well, you don't have no money and you this and that. So I'm just gonna leave. She didn't do none of that, you know. And when it came down to the guy, Swim Champ, that was on the panel, he was engaged to this woman. When she lost her job, he say he spent a total about $4,000 cleaning her resume, had to go to people to, properly do interviews, teach her how to talk in interviews, carry herself, the way she sits, the way she talks, the way she dressed, you know, mentoring her in the process on getting a job. Clean up her resume, showed her, her performance in it, everything. Like 4,000, that's a lot of money. This guy was making, I think he said the sum of over 12,000 a month. You know, she lost her job. He was paying her He was paying her rent and everything for a total of a year, paying her rent because they both were separate. You know, end up paying for the I forgot the name of it, but it was the African cultural style wedding, and they was gonna do the Western American wedding. Um, but he ended up losing his job. Gave her a $12,000 Cartier diamond ring, 5 carats, and when he lost the job, she didn't want to be with him no more. She kicked him to the curb. Wasn't even a whole year. It's like she couldn't take the struggle when he's not paying everything, but when she was down and out, he helped her get to the point of having her a job and dealt with her finances and stuff. She couldn't take it. You know, the point of it is when it really counts, what side are you gonna be on? You know, and this lady didn't want to stick it out. She she didn't even go through the whole wedding. And then the bad part, this guy makes twice as much when he was with her the first time. He made twice or probably three, 4 times as much. He was a district manager over several companies. Now he owns 2 businesses. Make almost 4 times as much as he made as an employee. But the whole thing was she wasn't there to wait the storm out during the process. My wife did. I still make good money. I make decent money. I'm at home. I could make more money if I would be into the career I was in before, but I'm gonna spend less time with my family. The money will be there. I mean, lots of money. But the point is, I'll be spending less time, and that's the time I want to. The younger years, I want to spend more quality time with my boys. Once they get into middle school, high school, I'm gonna be there. Not as much, but because I'm gonna be focused on making money then. Going into my older years, I know the proper jobs I can get into to make money. You know, but the whole thing is, I want to make sure these guys are well rounded, well taken care of. You know, even with my 2 older kids, my wife had laid a foundation for them before I got in the picture, and we just kept it going. We actually moved out of our area for them to have better, outcomes with school. So in the end, essentially that's what you got to do in most cases for your kids. You know, you're the provider, so you got to make the tough decisions. You got to make it to where it benefits your kids, and that's just what it is. You know, a lot of people get in their feelings about certain situations, and I try to get them out. Hey, man, get your feelings out of this. Let's stay focused on the facts and what really counts. Man, I went totally off. I should have just cut this hours ago, well, minutes ago, because I wanted to stay focused on that video that I seen earlier. And like I said, it was just more troublesome to me to hear this lady try to insinuate and to give people a thought pattern into the story, and force people to make that decision. Because essentially, you're putting two together to kind of force thought. A woman being beat and to death in the face in a situation where a guy talks about hitting a woman in the face. Not the same two. And I said the same thing about Candace Owens that was in that man's manifesto when he did what he did. He essentially pointed out, I did this because of this. This is who I was listening to. This what made me have that mindset. So that's why I did this. There was none of that discussed in the news report. All it was your emotions and your feelings getting in there, and you trying to paint a picture of somebody that's not there. This was supposed to be the main focus of that video, but you know, as videos do, they grow legs and they tentacles, as people say too, and go in a different direction. But essentially, like I say, when it come down to it, we all gotta have an understanding about life, what we want and what we want to do. When it comes down to it, it is what it is. If you plan on getting married, just know it's not a guarantee. Know that you have to essentially, and the vetting process. We talked about that the other day. My wife met my grandma, met my aunts, met my uncles, and I essentially met hers as well. Her family, real close knit. My family was close knit like that when my great grandmother was alive. When my great grandmother passed, we stopped having so many family reunions. Uh, and that's one of the things I told my wife we're gonna bring back because they have like family gatherings for holidays. And I've told my wife, I said, well, we're gonna start essentially doing that at our house, and we're gonna go to our family houses as well. But we're gonna pick a holiday we're gonna have at our house. So get used to it, prepare, you know. And you're right, BGS. That's the same thing about that calculated risk, man, because essentially you gotta understand what you're getting yourself into. And that's what I try to, push people to have that mindset. Because when it comes down to it, I mean, this whole this whole thing about picking the right person and all that, to me, it's for the birds. I'm trying to get all this noise from the background. But yeah, this whole picking the right person, man, it's for the birds. I mean, when it come down to it, you got to know what you want and go get it. It might not always be that way, but the point of it is, if you want to be married, you got to have some skin in the game. You know, start vetting these women, looking at these women, seeing what the pedigree is. Where they come from. Like I said, essentially, when you dealing with a lot of women, sometimes they could be snakes in the grass, sometimes it can be truthful and all out. Same thing with the guys. I tell guys that when I talk to them, you can't sit here and want this, but then go for that. Me and Jay Sean had a conversation where we was talking to one guy. He was basically saying that yeah, what he was basically saying when it come down to it, he don't care about the women with weave. I mean, he said he don't want to wear a woman with weave. So I said, cool. If you don't want a woman with weave, do you have sex with women with weaves? And he was like, yeah, because I don't care about these, hoes and this and that. I say, well, that's the thing. We're not talking about the hoes. We're talking about the women who you want to have a relationship with. Because essentially, you can't say, I want this out of my woman, but you'll still mess with these women. Jay Shine explained, he was dealing with a female. And when it came down to it, say he was trying to mess with her. And she had a little smell to a little taint. Uh, and the funny part about that was when he was getting ready to deal with that woman. What's going on, Lazo? D Hodges. But when he was messing with that woman, the crazy part was he was like, "What's that smell? Oh, man, like you you foul." And her response was, people not complaining. So she has this thing to where as long as other guys mess with her because of her stuff not being up to par, why are you mad? Everybody else doing it. And that's what essentially goes down the line to where the women not changing because if all the guys are still messing with these women and dealing with these women that have behavior issues, what is that doing? It's promoted that it's okay. because if this guy won't do it, another one will. And that's what I keep seeing in the space when it comes down to it. A lot of guys not understanding being all on the same page where guys not even. I mean, I know it's not gonna happen, but to the point where we have some type of standards, we won't have these problems. Same thing with the women. The women all they can say ain't no good men out here, but you keep messing with the thug type, and you want to live this hot girl summer. Because I always say, when guys say these women are choosing wrong, they don't choose wrong. They choose right. That's what they want at that particular point in their life. They want the game baker. They have this notion that the thugs beat it up, tear it up, but they also fight it up, put you in the hospital with it up. So you got to take the good with the bad. You can't say I want a man to beat it up, but I don't want him to beat me up. Hey, that comes with the territory. And if he don't do it, then so be it. But the point of it is, you can't get mad. Yeah, yeah. Because when it come down to it, we all have a situation to where, like I say, one or the other. You can't say you want a good woman, but then you turn around and always messing with the thoughts. Like I said, I had my fair share, but when I wanted to get married, I cut all that out. A lot of women, they knew not to approach me a certain way, or they wasn't gonna deal with me. You know, that was just the main issue. If you carried yourself a certain way, you couldn't deal with me. There were certain women they knew they were cool with me as a friend, but other than that, we never pushed over that level because you just weren't my type. Yeah, because it was funny. One day I was talking to one of my friends, well, one of my coworkers actually, and he had been getting into it with his old lady. Damn, I had the thing on mute all this time. But yeah. So basically, the dude sit up there, he cheating on his old lady. His old lady actually, told him that I was messing with her on the side while he be, in and out of town doing his thing or messing around with other chicks that I was coming over there. And the guy laughed at her, and she was like, "Well, what's so funny?" You know, because she see me wilding out over there at his house. She think that's my personality, and that's how I be. But the guy started laughing. He was like, "You picked the wrong person." He was like, "If you'd have picked any other person, I would have actually believed you. But the way he comes off, he's not really that. I mean, I might come off wild sometime. When I used in my little younger days of doing crazy stuff, and a lot of stuff I slowed down from doing. But to the point, I carry myself a certain way. So when people say certain things about me, and the people who truly know me, they know I don't move like that. So he literally just laughed at her. He's like, pick somebody else because you lied then. And she was offended, and when she talked to me, and I talked to her, and she was like, "Well, why he think like that of you?" I said, "Man, I hold marriage to be true." I said, "You married to that man?" I said, "Well, he cheats. That's his business, but I can't do that." You know, y'all married now. If y'all wasn't married, and even to a situation with you being in a relationship with him, I still wouldn't cross that boundary. You know, if it was somebody who I met friend of a friend and I didn't really know, yeah, maybe I'll hit you. But other than that, nah, I don't get down like that. You know, karma, everything, just moving a little ways. I move different. Cause there's been plenty of my homeboys. Yeah, cause there's been plenty of my homeboys, old lady. I could have hit easily, but I told them I don't move like that. You know, and a lot of guys they do or they might, but I don't move like that. I carry myself different. I have a little bit of standards. But yeah, like I said, man, this thing going long enough. Like I said, my initial statement about this video was to talk about that issue about the video I just seen. Um, yeah, I know this is going to go across the manosphere like a wildfire, but I don't care if I'm the first. I don't care if I'm the last. My thing is, I'm not interested in beating anybody to the punchline, but I know this is gonna be some trouble. But like I always say, I catch all in these YouTube streets. Like I always say, we here and we gone.